All right, good morning, everybody. How's everything going today? I hope everybody is staying cool in this very hot time. And today is Monday, June 23rd. To be quite honest, I cannot believe how fast, for me, mind you, how fast the month of June has gone by. So just setting up my computer right now. There we go. A couple of things that a lot of people are talking about and that I wanted to touch base with is the recent bombings in Iran. Now, I am not going to go into whether or not what's the constitutionality, what authority or the like. I'm not in Congress. I'm not a judge. The judges are the ones that constitute um, constitutionality and actions by the executive branch and actions by the legislative branch. Of course, they are supposed to be a checks and balances. And to me, it's not a party issue. It should not be a Democrat or Republican issue. And there are opinions on both sides of the aisle. Unfortunately, I think we need to have more dialogue and more discussion with regards to things from the legislative branch and the executive branch. As you know, as I've said before, our system of government is set up as a check and balance. And when there is no check and balance, when everybody grows the same way and does the same thing, I do believe that that weakens our democratic system a bit, and quite a bit actually. And certainly that's something that needs a thorough discussion of all the facts. There are a lot of things going on the internet. Who gave Iran, uranium and the like. What I have read is that the uranium that they have was not weapon grade, and now they are trying to turn it into weapon grade. So, regardless of that, it's a very, very concerning time in the world today, and certainly we just got done with a war in the Middle East, and we don't want another one. But I do want to point out, and one of the reasons why I wore my American Legion shirt today was, you know, many individuals' loved ones are out there, and we read the reports, and I Google online all the time to get an idea on what my son's ship is doing, and I have a pretty good idea. But we can read, and through satellite imaging, it's no surprise we have a couple aircraft carrier groups out there. We have tens of thousands of troops in that area. The Air Force is readying planes. So it is a very, very serious situation, and pointing fingers. This person did this person did this back in the day, back when I was in 30 years ago. Bill Clinton did this and this and this. It distracts from what we're looking at today. And today, many people's loved ones, my son included, are looking at the Middle East. Don't know quite what's going to happen, and are doing their job in our military every single day. So instead of forwarding meme or whatnot of, this happened 10 years ago, this happened 15 years ago, we should do that today. We should look at today and what's happening today, and to stop seeking justification in the past. Today, we engaged in a exercise that released bombs in another country. That's what we did. Um, Today, we don't know what the end result of that action is going to be. And today, there are a lot of loved ones serving our country, um, fingers crossed, hoping to not be in harm's way, hoping to be there for support if needed, hoping not to be needed. But certainly, it is a very, very concerning time, if not a scary time, for the individuals like me that are home that have loved ones serving overseas. And you sit back and you just wait. Now, I haven't quite heard from my son in several months because he can't really communicate while on ship, while on sea. He's been at sea for a lot of months. So, with that, keep everybody serving in your thoughts, in your prayers, in your mind. Care packages are really important. So I send them to my son frequently, and I overpack it for him to share with other people, on other sailors on his ship. But and then certainly support organizations that support them. And of course, I'm with the American Legion, and the VFWs, and all our congressionally chartered veterans organizations, and then state chartered and state recognized veteran organizations as well. They need support too, and they support our troops that are sitting out there in the middle of the ocean, or in a bivouac site, or wherever across the globe they are. So, let's, for a bit, I know people, it might be hard for a bit. Let's tone down the vitriol. I mean, we saw it with unfortunately, we saw it with the shootings and the killing of the state reps in our neighboring state, that people twisted it into something partisan. Very disingenuous. Let's just get back to a level of humanity, and concentrate on trying to be a little bit more civil than clicking the share button on that anger-inducing tweet or meme, or TikTok, or whatever you're on in social media these days. Let's try to be a little bit more civil and human. Wow. I sit there and I'm packing another box to send to my son that's going to get into the mail. The Postal Service is very supportive of our military. It is very affordable to send things to him, thankfully. And so shipping out another box of home cooked Oreo cookies, Gushers, Pop Tarts, a whole bunch of snacks that he might like on ship, along with a couple other things that are not perishable but can ship. So with that, I just wanted to touch base and just tell people that it's getting scary over there, and we need to support everybody that's serving, and support the families that are back home that have loved ones over there too. So with that, we'll start our coffee chat with a mug today of iced coffee. So obviously it's very hot. We'll talk about the cooling centers. If you get my email, we sent out a list of cooling centers on the email. If you do not get our email, you can sign up at IL District 84. District is spelled out, District 84. So you can go to that website and sign up for our newsletter. And then also IL District 85. So certainly we are tuning in today. And I want to give a big shout out to my good friend Roger. Roger and Bob Dunn, thank you all for being on the Facebook live commenting. Good morning. So thank you all for joining us this morning. So a couple of things that I want to touch base on before we start is iced coffee, as I said. So back in the day, we're going back 28 years now. There was a place that I worked at in college called Pockets, and they used to have a mug club. So now my mug club is filled with iced coffee. It used to probably be filled with other things. So back in the day, if you all remember Pockets right there at Fox Valley Mall, it helped put me through college. So I worked on the weekends and paid the bills. But today is an iced coffee day. So and it's a big one because it's a Monday. So I got a lot of stuff to do, got to power up. And then also behind me, I have my water bottle, because you got to stay hydrated today. A lot of other days in the military, we would call a day in the 90s, 80s and 90s, a Black Flag Day. And a Black Flag Day meant that we were restricted from doing activities outside, no PT outside, and certainly hydrated. And we hydrated with 2 canteens of water an hour. So on Black Flag days, we had to drink 2 canteens of water an hour. So if you ever wonder why I drink a lot of water, that's because back in the day in California, we had quite a few Black Flag days. And so today I would say would be a Black Flag day. Certainly it's hot, it's humid, and stay inside. Bring your animals inside. You know, those fur coats, they're not very comfortable on our cats and dogs. So certainly be careful out there. So what are we doing today? What are we going to talk about today? Well, veto session. I realize we're in the middle of summer, but the veto session calendar was released. So we are having veto session October 14th through the 16th and October 28th through the 30th. Not quite sure what's on the docket for veto. We've talked before. There are some things that have not been addressed. Potentially, we have what I've been working on is responsibly fixing our pension system, our tier 2 system, also transit, talking about transit, and a couple other things. So that is quite the docket for those short period of time. Not sure what's going to be presented, but that is to come. Legislation signed. So I've talked about all sorts of legislation that we passed, and now the governor is looking to sign some bills. And one of the bills that the governor signed was my good friend Mary Gill in the House, and also my good friend Senator Murphy in the Senate. It was Senate Bill 126, and it again requires health insurance plans to provide coverage for all FDA-approved treatments of Alzheimer's disease, medications prescribed to slow Alzheimer's disease progression, and diagnostic testing necessary for physicians to treat Alzheimer's disease. Now, again, I know I've said this before, bears repeating, that the state of Illinois can only oversee state insurance plans that are only in the state of Illinois. So if you happen to be in a company that's a multi-state company and their insurance plan originates from a different state, this might not apply to your insurance plan. But if you have like Blue Cross Blue Shield Illinois, that's an insurance plan that's here in Illinois, and these are regulations that would address that. Also, I want to touch on, I don't think I've talked on it before, but July 1st is right around the corner. So right now, if you used to go to the old ILGA website, after July 1st, you're going to see a different website. There has been a beta site that has been in testing for more than 6 months. And so there is going to be a new ilga.gov site modified. If you do have a account set up to track bills or the like, you're going to have to create a new ilga.gov account as well. So if you go to the old account at the old website, ilga.gov right now, on the top it says, look at our new beta site. So I encourage you to go to it now before it completely flips over so that you're used to it, used to finding what you need to find. And I'm going to have to do that too, believe it or not. I'm very, very good at our ilga.gov site. And then we did have a video on our website that talks about the old ilga.gov site. We're going to have to upload a video on how individuals can access the new site and what they're looking for. So certainly that is coming really quicker than I realized it. So certainly that's coming on. We talked about IDFPR and their licensing. They've added, and I know I've talked about repeating myself, but it bears repeating, 21 additional licensing. What I didn't mention last time when I talked about it is the full implementation of their core system, CORE system, is expected to be completed in August 2026. So we talked about the 21 licenses that were just added: acupuncturist, cardiologist, dietitian, massage therapy, continuing education, neuropath, respiratory care, practitioner, speech language pathologist, speech language pathology assistant, temporary dental training, temporary permanent for visiting dentist for free dental care, temporary nursing home administrator, and temporary pediatrics physician, and so a lot of those are in there. It's so not all of them though, but the target date, in case you're wondering, is August 2026, and I don't believe I touched on that last time I talked about that site. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about the state and partnering with Rush University Medical Center and Lurie Children's Hospital to serve as an elite special pathogen treatment center to treat people suffering from highly infectious diseases like Ebola and the pneumonic plague. Both hospitals will receive funding to maintain airborne infection isolation rooms. They're going to invest in specialized equipment, provide enhanced medical training to the staff, and this is really in response to the federal government's withdrawal from the World Health Organization. We're very concerned about the ongoing cuts to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Service funding, and this will allow our patients to receive treatment in Illinois rather than having to be transferred to out of state to specialized treatments. So I hope nobody has to use these specialized rooms and equipment, but we certainly need to make sure we are a global hub. A lot of people coming and going through our airports, and it's so important to be prepared. And so just to let you know that Rush University Medical Center and Lurie Children's Hospital are being able to serve as elite special pathogen treatment centers. And they will be able to treat people in Illinois, but also they're going to be able to treat people that have to, where Illinois is closer. And if they do have those symptoms and those very, very deadly, very, very contagious diseases. So, and then following on the medical kind of theme, Illinois Medicaid managed care increased a bit we have 2,444,284 individuals on Medicaid. And Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and Country Care Health Plan in Cook County saw minimum increases. Other 3 state plans saw slight decreases, so kind of that's about, but it increased a bit. And just to keep in mind, as we've talked about Medicaid before, a lot of individuals of Medicaid are children, the frail elderly, individuals with disabilities. So there is a huge group in that segment. I know there's a lot of talk about work requirements for Medicaid that has happened in other states, and they've it's an idea, but minimal success because Medicaid really is those 3 huge segments, and the frail elderly, individual with disabilities, and children. And then if you're planning your summer, I know it's right around the corner, Illinois State Fair's annual celebration of all things Illinois will kick off on August 7th with the theme Adventure Awaits. The state fair runs from August 7th to August 17th in Springfield with livestock competition, concerts, performances, carnival rides, food, and a bunch. So certainly if you are planning your summer and want to look at the state fair, then that is someplace to go. But talking about celebration and more in the month of June. I know August, you're going to say August seems so far away, it'll be here before you know it, but just taking the time to reflect on last week. What happened last week? June 19th was Juneteenth. And if you get my email, last week I sent out an email, my good friend and mentor, Alderman Chiquita Hart Burns passed away on Juneteenth 2 years ago, and she was a force to be reckoned with, and she was 100% always about the community, always about children, always about making sure that this place is a better world for so many people. And she's always reminded. But and additionally to that, Juneteenth is the freedom from African Americans from slavery in the United States in 1865. It's celebrated on the holiday Juneteenth, which is June 19th. Of course, it makes up the words June and 19th for Juneteenth, and it is the day that Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Texas more than 155 years ago to inform the slaves that slavery had been abolished, the last group that didn't get the word. And back in the day, uh, they uh, they told them they were free. And then on Friday, June 20th, is the first day of summer. So the summer solstice 2024 is officially the first day of summer, the longest day of the year. So now every day is going to be a little bit shorter. It was Thursday, June 20th. And certainly that is always something that's fun. Back in the day, we used to say that as kids, we didn't go until the street lights turned, and June 20th was the last day. And again, I'm going to say it again, make sure that you're staying cool. There are cooling locations that we sent out in our email. You can Google a cooling location near me. Most of the public libraries, if you're by my office, you can stop by and cool off there. The train stations, the public spaces are available. There's also, a law that says that they can't cut off your energy during extreme heat and extreme cold. So if you haven't paid your bill, if you need some assistance with your energy bill, there are LIHEAP programs available as well. Friday, June 27th, now this is coming up, is National PTSD Awareness Day, and it's celebrated annually on June 27th and aims to raise awareness of post-traumatic stress disorder. And it is a condition that may develop after a person has been exposed to one or more traumatic events. I say it's a condition because you can get help, and you certainly can work through the trauma. And currently, there's about 12 million people in the United States with post-traumatic stress disorder. Um, and it's important to get the help you need. Now, I know post-traumatic stress disorder focuses on veterans, but it is really can affect anybody. We focus on veterans because veterans can get exposed to problems and trauma that's not everyday occurrences. However, individuals can expect trauma too. Childhood trauma, if untreated, can manifest itself in adulthood, and certainly can produce a lot of stressors in an adult. So even childhood trauma should be addressed, and it could be something that might not really be recognized. It could be, a compounding of situations. Maybe somebody almost got hit by a car. Maybe somebody saw abuse as a child, a domestic abuse, domestic violence, and they don't really know how to process that as a child, and then it manifests itself in teenage years, can manifest itself in adulthood. So certainly should be treated, and there are many organizations that can help. NAMI, Illinois, the National Association of Mental Illness, and a lot of groups can help out. Veterans can, of course, go to the VA. So mental health is physical health. Trauma does affect, it does affect so much in people's lives, even how they focus. Because if you're always thinking about the trauma, it's hard to focus on work, it's hard to focus on school, it's hard to focus on getting out of the house and being productive. So certainly very, very important, very, very important to seek mental health treatment, just like we seek physical treatment. So very important with that. Good morning, Ellen and Audie. They treated us, and Oh, and Lisa, thanks for joining us as well. Thank you for putting the good mornings in the chat. Really, really happy to see you. So thanks for that too. So certainly wonderful to have you guys well. And then Saturday, the day that a lot of people were looking forward to. So Saturday, June 28th is our annual Recycle and Shred Day. It's from 9 a.m. to noon. It's outside my office in the parking lot. Certainly, you form a line and you pull up, and we have wonderful volunteers that come, take the documents out of the car, put them in the shred. You don't even have to get out of your car. It's completely a full service operation. 3 garbage bags or 2 banker boxes for shredding. We have filled up the truck virtually every single time. So when the truck is full, we have to be done with that. Electronics like computers, printers, cables, video game consoles. I know I have a box in my car a box in my car ready to go of electronics, small appliances, microwave, DVD players, fax machines. No monitors. We always get people that show up with the monitors. I will take them, but then I have to pay to dispose of them, the $25 or whatever. So if you don't have $25 and you need to get rid of your TV or computer monitor, I can spot it for you. But we certainly get charged if TVs and computer monitors get dropped off. So we're also accepting used cell phones. Now, the used cell phones go directly to Mutual Ground Domestic Violence Shelter, and if the cell phone is usable, then it could go to help somebody that needs a cell phone to get out of a very serious situation. But they also have a partnership with an organization that will pay them for a used cell phone if it doesn't work. So bring it if it doesn't work, or if it does work, it goes to Mutual Ground. And then we collect used eyeglasses for the Lions Club. They have been the advocates for sight and making sure folks get glasses that they needed. So used eyeglasses goes to the Lions Clubs. And then gently used books. So we take the books in, and there's numerous organizations that takes used books for literacy programs. And so we tried to support all the literacy programs there is. So, and one year it was pretty great. An individual donated several boxes of military books. We donated those to the American Legion. And speaking of the American Legion, if you are in the area, the old site that used to be Java Plus is now the American Legion. They've expanded to a bigger space to have more programming. They don't quite have office hours as of yet, but certainly they are really transforming to a service office. Doesn't have a bar, doesn't have a big meeting space, but an office for service. So certainly something to check out in the next couple months. And we will have it going back to our shred and recycle day. We will have it rain or shine. So the trucks will be there, and so will I, rain or shine. So certainly hope to see you on Saturday, June 28th, 9 a.m. to noon. And I ask you this, there's always a couple people that wake up late and try to get there right at 11:59. If we can take you at 11:59, we will, but the truck has to go at 12 on the spot. Packs up and goes. So try to get there by 11:30 so that we can get you through the line and on your way. So certainly that's our shred and recycle day. So one of the things in the budget, we'll just touch on a couple other things. I know I talked about the budget. Some of the disappointing things in the budget that has been coming out is almost $5 to $7 million that's going to go to NASCAR. I understand, tourism is very important, but to earmark that for NASCAR is a little bit a disappointment, and $1 million to go to the President's Cup at Medina. But also in the budget, was a $100 million fund that was established through sweeping money from other funds. We talked about that before. Funds that have not been spent down which means if we have a fund for farmers, let's say, and that fund is supposed to give out grants to farmers, and it doesn't give out enough grants, and it has extra money left over, that state swept it with no indication of it being paid back. And so they created $100 million fund that is to have limited use, but this is in the event that the federal government shortchanges Illinois. So there's $100 million fund to bridge the gap. The state treasurers also has the authority to lend up to $2 billion to the comptroller to pay bills, and we talked about this before. Emergency lending powers used during the budget impasse of the former governor Bruce Rauner. Now, how does the treasurer lend money to the comptroller? Well, state pays interest on that money, and the treasurer's is up to providing investments for the state. So the treasurer will get interest on that $2 billion that they gave to the comptroller. I realize it's a little bit circular because it's all in the state pool, but they're investing in that. Now, that of course is emergency authority, but that would help in the event that the federal government passes a bill that a budget that really cuts funding for a lot of people. Now, I do not, and again, going back, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, nor am I a lawyer at all, nor am I a judge. But in the past, I have seen and read that they cannot just reduce funding for a program that's in Illinois. That is a nationwide program. They have to reduce funding for the whole program, the whole nationwide. So I know a lot of things are being talked about with the SNAP program, supplemental nutrition program, and that's been in the courts, and they're trying to shift the cost of that to the states. So what we're seeing is federal government doesn't want to pay for these programs, but they're federally mandated programs, so they want to shift that cost to the state. We don't quite know what that is. So that $100 million fund was established to address the unknown. Speaking of veto session and what was left to be little left to be addressed is there were some reforms in the medicinal marijuana and the marijuana market overall. Representative Ford is working on that. Nobody wanted to feel rushed in making decisions about the bills. So certainly that was not voted on as well. And then also, now, so right now there's intoxicating hemp. It's unregulated, really, and there's a lot of regulations that come up. And so I really thought that we had some common sense regulation at the end of last General Assembly. There's a few things that were not agreed upon, and it was a little concerning that there was not a hemp product to regulate outside of licensed cannabis dispensaries. So they're on the shelves now. Unregulated hemp, there are certain things I think need to be regulated. Number one, I think it needs to be behind the counter with the tobacco and the other intoxicating things, 21 and up. And then certainly list of ingredients, like right now there's no real list of ingredients. So I think there's some common sense regulation that we can still do outside of moving all the products inside of the licensed cannabis dispensary. I know individuals do use hemp products to sleep and many other uses than to be intoxicated. So we're talking about like the Delta 8, the Delta 9s. But certainly be careful if you have teenagers, be careful what they're using and how it's going to happen. And then we talked about our nuclear power and how we had a moratorium on nuclear power, and now we've undone the moratorium for small nuclear reactors, and we're undoing the moratoriums because we have to look at energy, not like we used to in the past, obviously, because we have data centers now. We have computers and this Facebook that I'm talking to you on, and the fan that's going in my office, and we have a lot of energy uses that we didn't have at all, really, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Dial-up began when my kids were young, and like I think Sabrina was like in second grade and third grade when we were really getting connected to the internet. And fourth grade, I remember kidscom.com was a kid-friendly site that was established similar to social media today. And my daughter actually won a terrarium for her fourth grade class by answering some questions or something on it. And so look how far we've come in just my daughter's lifetime. And so energy is certainly important. She was Sue Resin is the lead in the Senate, a good friend of mine. I've worked with her on a lot of things. She's actually co-chair of the National Council of State Legislators Energy Supply Task Force, and has seen a growing interest in nuclear firsthand. So it has changed. And Sue's district, she's in the Northern Illinois district. She has 3 of the state's 6 constellation energy plants. So now that we're changing, a lot is needing power. So we need a huge need for power, and nuclear is a source of power that can be tapped into. As I've said before, and I'm repeating it again, those aircraft carriers I talked about at the beginning are powered by small nuclear reactors along with our submarines. So our Navy has been using small nuclear reactors for power for a long time. So the technology is out there. So certainly that's a big thing. So I'm going to check and see if anybody has questions. Tom Collins is joining us. Thank you, Tom, for joining us. And Bonnie, thank you guys for joining us. Wonderful to see you. If I'm missing anybody, then I apologize. We have 7 people watching. So good morning to all. Thank you all so much for joining us today. So let's see. Where are we at? So laws that are going into effect. We are looking at laws that are going into effect July 1. So these laws are taking effect. House Bill 5028. We talked about this before. This taking effect July 1. State agencies to distribute opioid reversal drugs like naloxone or Narcan at workplaces, provided employees are trained to administer it in good faith to protect from civil liberty. So we also passed new measures to reduce plastic usage around the state, including working for environmental reform. So we can do a whole list. Please look at your email. That's set to take place. I touched a little bit on Metra. So with regard to transit, there's 2 budgets that they're creating, one for normal operations and one's called the Doomsday budget, looking as funding 40% reduction train and buses. So that did not get addressed, as I said earlier. And then there's certainly use of kratom. It's a herbal supplement commonly sold as an energy booster or for pain relief. It can also produce an opiate and stimulant-like effect. So that's something that we need to look at. How it's being used again. These are things that we certainly, as a state, look at to make sure that people are safe. And certainly know what they're using. And that's the number one thing, is to know what they're using. If it's falling into the hands, like many years ago, I did a law regulating powder caffeine because individuals just weren't quite sure how to use it. And we were seeing, young people having heart problems using too much powdered caffeine. So we just regulated it and made sure individuals know what they're taking. That's pretty much what we do quite a bit on the legislative side. And then we are looking at the emerging quantum technology industry. I've talked about this before. The Japan External Trade Organization, and that's an economic development organization with the government of Japan, sponsored a 2-day delegation of business representatives in Chicago, looking at the state and economic development agencies to look at the region and the state of Illinois as unique in the world. So it's not really a state government that's following trends, but really setting trends. And we are trying to set the trend in quantum computing. And of course, quantum computing parlays into data centers, parlays into energy uses, and why Illinois is situated for this is because we have 6 nuclear power plants that produce power all the time. When the sun's not shining, when the wind's not blowing, when it's just too cold to get coal and gas through the pipes, one of the things that is always there is our nuclear power plants. And so that, of course, sets us up for certainly, I think, head and shoulders above our competition when it comes to these quantum computing sites. And then a couple of things with regards to the environment. And I know tragically on I-55 there's a huge dust storm a couple of years ago that led to a big pileup. And I have to drive I-55 all the time. And but dust storms in central Illinois are increasing, and farmers are trying to explore conservation practices. The federal government used to fund some of this money to help farmers with trying out different conservation practices. We're still on the state level trying to support them the best we can as well. But at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, they are looking at dust storms seem to be more abundant than they were in years past. Now, Illinois has had its ups and downs with regards to these events, but it's been more frequent. And of the last few years, relative than you look at the previous maybe 10 years. So Illinois doesn't quite have great data on dust storms. Temperature records are far more higher than they've been in the last 8 decades, believe it or not. And when we get more droughts, less rain, the ground is really dry, and farmers don't, they do just spot watering. So be careful when you're driving down in southern Illinois, and watch out for dust storms because they can be tragic. They can lead to accidents and very dangerous. And then in Illinois as well, they gave a report to say fireflies, are they going extinct? I know when I grew up, fireflies were everywhere. You would just be surrounded by fireflies back in the day. Lightning bugs are what they're called in Illinois. So it's been reported several North American firefly species could be at risk of extinction, although it's still hard to tell. They do lay their eggs and they grow out, and they soon should be coming online right here towards the end of June. They are a summer thing, but they're looking at the firefly population a little more closely to fully understand what is going on. populations are declining, and part of that has to do, believe it or not, with light pollution. So fireflies attract each other by their blinking. And when you leave your lights on, which of course for safety, you want to leave your front porch light on. But if you have a backlight on, the abundance of lights make it difficult for the fireflies to find each other. They can't see each other's blinking. So certainly there's more things to do it, but I read an article that the declining firefly population and hopefully we can look at this and make some changes because they certainly are a remarkable thing of summer that I know a lot of people, myself included, would always look forward to. And then lastly, we're looking at our universities. So we have regional universities, northern, western, central, Illinois State, and their enrollment is struggling. So it's down about 36% since 2010. But then our flagship campuses, the big U of I, that has grown up by 26%. So we're looking at demographics, funding, some competition, looking if there's any policy fixes we need to help them out with. And then lastly, if you follow IHSA basketball tournaments, they approved a new state tournament schedule for basketball. So on Tuesday, they announced the boys and girls basketball state tournaments will change their format, reverting to a similar schedule that was used when the single weekend format was introduced in 2022 until 2024. So going back to that schedule. So with that, I will wrap it up. Not much coming down the pipe, but the governor is set to sign. The governor has 60 days to sign the bills that were passed, and some of the bills were passed in May. So certainly, maybe around July, August, we'll be seeing bill signings. So certainly, we'll keep you updated on that. Lisa, thanks for joining us. Lisa put in the chat, good morning. Thanks for all your extraordinary work. Talks are very informative. So certainly, and definitely, if there's anything you want me to touch on these Facebook Lives, send me an email, let me know. I can do all that I can. Of course, keep all our service members in your mind and certainly in your thoughts. So we want to definitely touch on things that are important to you. And then I did do a Google search, and for those that are wondering, and it's public information, anybody can get it, but I did a Google search, and in an article written on June 15th, they do have a picture of a sailor, a petty officer, first class, but they state that the USS Ralph Johnson arrived in Diego Garcia. So, according to Google, the Navy leave in the Indian Ocean Territory, British Indian Ocean Territory. So he is the Ralph Johnson is deployed, assigned to the Destroyer Squadron 15, the Navy's largest destroyer squadron, which is DESRON, and the U.S. 7th Fleet Principal Surface Force. So it's in the public domain. So that is, as of June 15th, now he can be gone now. That was a couple days ago, but as of June 15th, it looks like the USS Ralph Johnson is doing a sea and anchor evolution while pulling into the U.S. Navy support facility, Diego Garcia. So let's hope he just stays out of harm's way, just like we hope everybody else's loved ones stay out of harm's way. So With that, thank you all. Have a great Monday. Again, make sure if you need a cooling center, check in on loved ones, check in on grandma, grandpa, older individuals. Make sure their air conditioner is running. If not, make sure they get to a cooling station. This high heat is dangerous. So, and drink lots of water. 2 canteens an hour. Stay hydrated. Take care, guys, and have a great Monday.